All right, let's see you guys know who that is. It's the Rolling Stones, who, as everyone in Milwaukee knows, is kicking off Summerfest on June 23rd at the Marcus Amphitheater. Huge get for Summerfest. But the Rolling Stones isn't the only thing happening. There's over 800 bands playing at Summerfest this year. And to make sense of the lineup, we've got a really great panel of experts for you here for the Summerfest show. We've got DJ Bazan and DJ Jank from Those Hip Hop Guys blog at jsonline.com or tapmilwaukee.com. We've got Eric Ernst, a frequent music writer for us, and John Gilbertson as well, also a frequent music writer for us. And they'll be covering Summerfest throughout the run. So guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the Summerfest lineup. Yay, nay, good, bad? What are some impressions? John, what do you think? You've been covering Summerfest a while.
I think overall, I mean, certainly kicking off with the Stones is a big thing. But I mean, I think it's an overall, it seems like a solid lineup. And when you have someone like, Kendrick Lamar, who made one of the, I mean, the album is just getting crazy good reviews.
Yeah.
I mean,
Eric Zach Brown Band, I think, is an interesting get because they're doing stadiums, but they're also doing Summerfest.
It is, and it seems like a venue that they really, really enjoy, and that's one of the last few years when they've come to the amphitheater, it's been packed, I mean, to the gills everywhere. I think that there's a really strong lineup across country music. What I like that Summerfest has tried with and is continuing this year is the Rhymesayers stage, where they give a record label a stage and give them the day to sort of curate it themselves. And I wish they would do that with more record labels and more genres. I wish we'd see more of that sort of lateral lineup on a stage where you get to go sort of camp out and enjoy a day of that sort of curated music.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. What, Jake, what do you think about the Rhymesayer stage and in general the hip hop lineup at Summerfest? I mean, I've heard some people say, oh, I mean, obviously Kendrick Lamar, there's probably some good thoughts on that, but then some people are like, oh, Lupe Fiasco, he's done it a million times. What are your impressions?
I think people should be happy there's any hip hop at all.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, they could not have any. Like, just be happy we got something.
Yeah.
And I covered the Rhymesayer stage a year or two back, and it was, I mean, the crowd was insane.
Bazan, what do you think about Kendrick Lamar at the Marcus? This is his biggest headlining show he's ever done in terms of a hard ticket show. What do you think about that?
I think it's really well deserved. I mean, the buzz is obviously there. Even if he didn't release an album this year, I think people would have been excited to go. And I think just overall, over the last few years at Summerfest, with so much more competition in terms of music festivals all across the country, they've been having to bring more and more big names. For me, overall, I'm pretty pleased that Summerfest is actually bringing newer names in all the genres of music, across the board.
Well, speaking of newer names, we got to mention this one new huge name, Paris Hilton, who's doing a DJ set on June 28th. This has been really polarizing. There have been people who've said, there was a petition created to get her out of the lineup. And everyone's got different opinions on it. John, I think you're actually going to review that show for us. Any thoughts on Paris?
You've got no opinion on
it. That's his thought. That's
great. Pull the pin on the hand grenade and hand it to me. No, I mean, look, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it would actually be very interesting if she actually put on a set that worked.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to have to clear my head right before I go in and just say, all right, let's just pretend this is.
Yeah.
But I think that it's already working because we're all talking about it. There was I've never heard of a petition made to get somebody kicked off the stage at Summerfest. So
right.
I think there are going to be tons of Paris Hilton fans that are going to feel strongly to say, I got to go support. And there are going to be people that are going to go and boo and be mad, but then they're going to be in pictures and it's going to make it look bigger. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about headliners that you're really looking forward to seeing. John, is there a couple acts that you think people should check out?
Yeah, I mean one of my favorites, one that I was really pleased to see was because I've been really following lately is Mavis Staples.
Yeah,
the Staples singers, one of the all-time great gospel singers. So that is definitely going to be one of those sets that I hope a lot of people do check out because it is well worthwhile.
Is there another headliner you'd want to see?
I was thinking of definitely. I'm thinking of New Pornographers, Canadian. I mean, with A.C. Newman, who is just a superb, just pop rock songwriter. I mean, pop rock, power pop, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, just this. The New Pornographers, they haven't made a single bad record. There have been ups and downs. And Burl Bruisers, which is their most recent one, is probably, I don't know, maybe I might put it first or second on the list.
Yeah, for sure. Eric, do you have some picks? I know you love country, so any country standouts for you?
There are, and there's obviously a lot of big-name commercial country acts coming in. Two that really stand out, I think, are Brett Eldridge is one. He's one of those great cases that's hilarious to me because he just won the Best New Artist award recently at the CMAs, even though his first charting hit came in 2010. I have never been able to figure out how that plays out, but it was well-deserved if you're going to give someone an award because he's distinctive in commercial country music because he's got a really deep, soulful voice that you don't see too often in that realm. And the other big country name that I would mention on the side stages is someone who John didn't like his recent album, which is Billy Currington. He didn't seem like a fan of that. Of Summer Forever, but the guy's got
I thought I'd hidden it well.
Yeah, no, you did not. 9 #1 radio hits, and that's about as big as it comes over the past decade. And he's the type of guy who has opened for some of the biggest country tours, and I've seen him a number of times, and he's someone who can come in and just grasp an audience and win you over within the first couple of songs. He's adorable, we can all admit it, and that plays well in the country realm, too.
Darn straight, darn skippy, yeah. Jake, who's adorable that you want to see?
Adorable?
Yeah.
I think that's a very good question. Tell us.
Who's the most adorable
Actually,
headliner?
I want both of
Are there
those
like
gentlemen.
animals performing?
What headliners do you want to see?
Sheila E.
Yeah.
She's a big one for me. She's one of the best percussionists living, and she survived Prince. She's gorgeous. I've always had a crush on her since I was a kid. So I'm really excited to see her.
Yeah, and she's playing the Johnson stage, which is a pretty intimate stage. That should be cool.
Yeah,
Nice
it'll be
stage.
fun.
Yeah, any other headliner highlights for you?
Public Enemy. That's like a childhood thing. Like all their albums kind of changed my life. Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, and
That's
all that
huge.
stuff. I haven't seen them since the '90s.
They changed hip hop. I mean, even though Flavor Flav went on to the reality show stuff. I mean,
And I wonder if he's coming.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll be there or not. But still, Public Enemy. Yeah, absolutely. You can't underestimate how much impact they had.
Yeah.
Bazan, headliner picks.
I think an obvious one, even though I'm really hyped for, is Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. So yes, go
No,
see
tell
Stevie
us.
Wonder.
What,
You know what I mean?
what is this Stevie
One of
Wonder
the
you
greatest
speak of?
humans to ever live. But I really like the fact that Lupe is back because a lot of the young, his album was very good. A lot of the young hip hop fans I know and some of the kids I work with, they are huge fans of Lupe. So I think that'll be a good show. Not for the older people, but I think the young crowd is going to really show
And
out for
that show's going to be packed. I mean, of all the Summerfest shows, there's like 5 or 6 that are going to be mobbed. And Lupe Fiasco, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just really like that dynamic. Just, it may not matter to us in a way, but these kids really care. And also Kendrick. I mean, again, he's the hottest dude out. The album is the best album of the year. No debates or whatever. So that show is going to be great.
What do you guys think of Lecrae? Do you like Lecrae? Not like Lecrae? I mean, I think Lecrae is pretty interesting, and I think it's interesting that he's a Christian rapper who's been able to kind of find a good crossover audience.
Well, Lecrae is cool in the fact that you can plop him anywhere and let him perform, and people won't catch on for about 15 minutes about what he's talking about. They won't even notice he's not cursing. They won't notice anything.
Right.
Then they'll just hear a word like, what?
And Eric, I know you're big into like electric guitarists, and Gary Clark Jr. What are your thoughts on him? I mean,
He's phenomenal. I mean, there's no. He's one of those folks that just, whether you know him or you don't know him, blows you away as you walk by. And there's certain sounds at Summerfest that just jive with the vibe for it, and a really great blues guitar act like that is just perfect for Summerfest.
there's so much stuff to check out. I mean, and I love Gary Clark Jr. too. He's definitely a highlight. There's a ton of highlights. I have a story on Summerfest picks you can find at jsonline.com/Summerfest. If it's not up now, it'll be up very soon, so check back for that. And there's all sorts of stuff there. But we're not done yet. We'll be checking back in with the guys to talk about some like little known acts that are worth checking out. So stay tuned in a moment.
Knock, knock, knocking myself, and I knock, knock, knocking the door. Crack, crack, cracking the wheel, so crack, crack the door, and I say, whoa, don't wanna be
That's Milwaukee's own The Living Statues, really great local garage rock group that was one of the Wisconsin bands to watch for 2015. They're going to be at Summerfest. They're opening for OK Go, really good slot for them at the Uline Warehouse on July 2nd. I'm joined by Jordan Lee, who is at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee.
Yep.
And on Thursday mornings at AM, we do this segment called Tapped In, where we talk about local music and You talk about Summerfest, stuff like that.
But not on camera.
But not on camera.
Right.
So here we are on camera. Yeah. So there's lots of local music opportunities that you know, that's what was one of the things I love about Summerfest. There's many things I love about Summerfest.
The number of stages, just the sheer number of stages, offers you an opportunity to say, well, this stage tonight is a rock show, or this stage tonight is a rap show. For example, Lupe Fiasco. Artists performing under him are going to come from that same genre. So when you look at like Webster X and his opportunity to come in as one of the who's who of the hip hop scene in the moment and open up for a national rap act, I mean, this has happened for as long as I've been a part of the music scene here, and it's always been something that bands aspire to say, I hope that I can open up for an artist who I like or consider myself to be like in this environment. You mentioned a moment ago the Living Statues. I mean, them opening up for OK Go, it's just a really good fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Webster X, that's a really good call because I've seen his shows and they've been, you know, in club settings. But I don't know if I can recall an act locally where the fan base is so passionate and so intense.
Yes.
Maybe for Gold as well, which is also a highlight this year. Lupe Fiasco is going to be one of the most packed sets of the whole festival, so good for him.
And you think about the kind of rap fan that Lupe attracts, they probably will like Webster X if they give him a try. In my world of records, they call that recommended if you like.
Yeah, right.
So if you like Lupe Fiasco, I would say try Webster X.
Yeah.
If you like Public Enemy, I would say try the Rusty Peas. If you like Flaming Lips, I would say try Fatty Acids.
Yeah, now that's a perfect fitting too. The Fatty Acids is a local psychedelic rock band. That's a band that, you know, clearly loves the Flaming Lips, learned a lot from the Flaming Lips, and they have a shot to play for the Flaming Lips. Not only that, they're following Motion City Soundtrack, which is a big national band. So here's local Fatty Acids between Motion City and the Flaming Lips at the BMO Harris Pavilion stage. That's just awesome to see.
And it's smart for Summerfest too, because what it does is it creates a unique opportunity for them to say, we're not your every music festival. You think about Sasquatch, you think about things like Bonnaroo, Coachella. These festivals have a lot of stages and they have a lot of opportunity, but they're not really staking a claim to say this is uniquely us here. Whereas Milwaukee is saying, when you, OK Go, come here to Milwaukee and you perform in front of Milwaukeeans, you're going to also play with a Milwaukee band that's going to give you experience unlike all the other big festivals you're probably going to play anyway this year.
Yeah, totally. What are some highlights for you, Milwaukee act-wise?
I'm interested to see how Lex Allen does on the big stage this year. He's a freshman year, kind of, as far as putting out music and coming onto the scene, and he's got a real good time slot on the Briggs Big Backyard, and I'm really excited to see how he translates what's been a very well-received show in clubs into a large outdoor festival.
Yeah.
I also want to see Kid Cutup perform with Paris Hilton. Now, that's going to be interesting. Kid Cutup is a Milwaukee native who has left the city for the Los Angeles DJ scene. He's made a real good name for himself at DJ City.
He's between Paris Hilton and Andy Grammer, who's got that damn good song. That's an interesting slot. Now, that's a slot that might be a little more challenging, but there will be people there. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's a hometown hero, so for him to go in and step that up, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about, I mentioned them earlier, Gold, which is just a really fun, feel-good synth pop group led by Margaret Butler, who's one of the best front women I've seen in the city in a while. That band is not even a year old, and it's become really popular in the city. It's starting to get some attention outside of the city, and they were also one of the Wisconsin bands to watch on our list this year. And they've got they're playing the Emerging Artists series at the US Cellular stage, which is a good spot for them to play.
It'll also be interesting to see how the Field Report show translates into the outdoor beer drinking, loving, and dancing festival that is Summerfest. If you've seen Christopher perform, he's got a very soft touch, and his show is a little more intimate, and I want to see how it translates into the outdoor experience.
Yeah, that could be tough. That could be definitely tough. But Field Report's album Marigold, and it's hands down one of the most beautiful albums. Not just, it was my favorite album from Milwaukee last year, but really just one of my favorite albums, period, from last year. It's just so beautifully done, so beautifully written. So I think he could do it. I hope people will keep an ear out. He's competing against Paris Hilton, I believe.
Well,
that's another challenge.
Those are the breaks.
Yeah, right. So for more on other Milwaukee bands to check out at Summerfest, go to jsonline.com/Summerfest. We got a lot of stuff there for you. And 8 a.m. Thursdays on Radio Milwaukee, I chat with Jordan. We'll be talking about more Summerfest picks in the coming weeks. So thanks a lot, Jordan, for being here. It's my pleasure.
So that's Vinyl Theater, the latest signee to Fueled by Ramen, a really exciting alternative electropop group. And they're from Milwaukee. They're one of the bigger breakout acts from Milwaukee. And we're going to be talking about other kind of emerging acts that aren't as well known, but people should definitely check out, because I think what people forget about Summerfest is, they notice all the headliners at 10 p.m., and those are all big names. But if you get there at 5, 4, 3, sometimes at noon, there's good stuff kind of all day long. It may not be well known to you, but there's stuff to definitely check out. So, in light of that, let's talk about some emerging artists that you'd want to see, Bazan. What stands out to you?
Well, I know we mentioned the Rhyme Sayers stage earlier, and one of the acts on Rhyme Sayers that recently got to Rhyme Sayers is Dilated People. So not as big as Kendrick, not as on the radio like everybody else. Obviously, they've been around for years, but they just put out their album, Directors of Photography, last year. Really great album, so it'd be great to see that live on stage. And just get their energy along with the rest of the Rhyme Sayers crew. And also another act is the Chicago Afrobeat Project. So
I know them very well.
I was kind of introduced to them. They did a remix of Make Me Wanna Holler, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm a fan of Marvin Gaye. I'm a fan of Afrobeat. So this is a great kind of mixture. So then they've been around. They're a 14-piece ensemble, and they've been around for a decade or so, putting out albums. And so it'll just be great to see that in the mix of Summerfest.
Cool. Yeah. Cenk, what about you? What are some little-known acts, little discoveries for people you'd recommend?
Well, the local group De La Buena. If you love samba, any kind of Latin music, that's the way to go. I've seen them a bunch of times, and every time is great. But also is Sean Kuti in the Egypt 80.
Okay.
And the son of Fela Kuti, who started Afrobeat. He's a little more electro than everybody else, but he's still got the Afrobeat vibe.
Cool.
So it should be pretty good.
Awesome. Eric, from your perspective, what are some bubbling up acts or little-known acts to see?
First I would mention is Drake White. I got to see him for the first time when he played Milwaukee the first time at Summerfest 2 years ago. He's one of these acts, and there's a number of them at Summerfest where the show starts with a really small crowd because people don't really have the name recognition, and it only takes 2 or 3 songs before passerbys stop and realize what's going on and just how spectacular the act that they're seeing on stage is. And he's one of these performers that just grasps the audience by the throat and demands that you listen and participate. And I feel like I have a bonus pick because John's first pick is actually this show I'm most excited about the entire run of Summerfest.
Really? So. And what is that?
Yes, Angelina Presley. Kentucky woman, maybe not so much emerging, but the fact of the matter is she's in Pistol Annie's, and Miranda Lambert's also in the band, and even though it's an equal contribution of all 3 members, it's hard to avoid seeing the superstar and just being like superstar and then other 2 ladies.
Yeah.
But she also put out a great album called American Middle Class that shows that she can definitely stand on her own. And the other one is just kind of Deuce Payne incarnate, Melismatics out of Minneapolis.
Okay.
Just basically a pop rock band, sugary, crunchy, but they've worked with people like John Auer of the Seattle band The Posies, with Dan Wilson, the former Semisonic frontman, who's written with people like Adele.
Oh, cool.
They've worked with big people, and they can do good pop rock.
Awesome. Well, some really good picks, guys. Thanks a lot. So we'll be back with the panel in a bit to answer some reader questions, have some final thoughts. But first, we'll be chatting with Kathy Flanagan about things to do at Summerfest that have nothing to do with music. So Summerfest is about, of course, more than just music, including beer, food, and bacon-crusted pizza. And I'm here with Kathy Flanagan, a features writer extraordinaire, beer expert beyond any beer expert in the world. So speaking of beer, what are some of the brews we can look forward to? I mean, there's obviously Miller, but beyond Miller.
Liney's going to have their IPL, which is like an Imperial Indian Pale Ale, only it's a lager.
Okay, cool.
And then Blue Moon is bringing in a white IPA, so it's a wheat IPA, a little bit different taste. Wheats are nice in summer. People really like them.
I love wheat beer. Yeah.
Lakefront is bringing in a white. It's a version of a Belgian beer,
cool.
so that'll be nice and refreshing too. So it seems like that's what the major emphasis is. And then they're gonna, and that one's organic. The Lakefront one is organic, so great. I think you should drink a lot of that.
Yeah,
because it'll be healthy.
A lot, but there is a designated driver booth, so don't forget that.
Yes.
Just try to figure it out ahead of time.
They're gonna have 2, I had to take notes because they have a lot of stuff.
Sure.
2 Crispin American Craft mixology carts.
Oh,
Well, they'll have like the Line and Cool Summer Shandy. They'll have some ciders.
Okay.
And then they're gonna so there's gonna be some new stuff.
So like these
things.
are carts like kind of roaming around?
Yeah, they'll be in different parts of the park, and you
Okay.
can just go up and ask for a drink. And
Cool. No, that sounds cool. Those are great things. What about on the food end of things? I mentioned the bacon crusted
You
pizza.
did.
I'm super pumped about this. What's going on?
That's going to be at Solo.
Okay.
They're going to have it's a bacon bottom pizza.
Oh, wow.
And then it sounds actually decadent. So it's going to be made obviously of bacon, but you can also have pork put on it. So you can have pepperoni on your bacon.
All
Or
varieties
you could have
of-
sausage on your bacon.
Wow.
It just depends on how you want your bacon.
Wow,
So
wow.
they have a lot of things on a stick.
Okay. Sticks are in.
Sticks are big this year. Sticks
Okay.
are so big.
Okay.
I think the most interesting one is shish kebab.
Okay.
That's described as 2 fried cheese raviolis,
Okay.
a half a sausage,
Oh my gosh.
and 3 fried meatballs.
Wow. It's like an Italian super duper shish kebab.
That's like a last meal.
Yeah, it clearly is.
And it's at Millie's for $6.75. So they're gonna have scotch egg on a stick at
Okay.
Ward's House of Prime, and
Cool.
they're gonna have potato chips on a stick, which I'm curious how they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
At
yeah.
Flannery's. They also have some they have some gluten-free and vegan offerings.
Oh, okay.
Not a ton,
Yeah.
but
Right.
a few.
That's cool.
And Lakefront will have their grist, their gluten-free
Okay.
grist, but they have it with ginger this time. So
Okay.
there's some flexibility here, but you can find some gluten-free options at like Classy Girl Cupcakes. They're
Okay.
also going to have a vegan cupcake.
Cool.
And Batana's is going to have gluten-free and vegan, and Saz's has some gluten-free food. So there are a few more choices than people thought there would be.
Cool. Well, if besides the food, besides the beer, besides the music, anything else we should look forward to at Summerfest, whether it's for kids or just not music-related events?
Well, there's some family events going on, definitely. There's the parade, which
Sure.
is not every day, but many days. There's, of course, the Ferris wheel.
Mm-hmm.
There are paddle boats, which will take your family on a 30-minute trip on the lagoon.
Okay.
The kids' activity tent. There's what is it, be in a band, you be in a band.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah,
kids
awesome.
can try their own, hand at making music and
That's cool.
and see themselves performing there.
Yeah.
And of course, it all opens with the family fireworks. So
Oh, sure,
I mean,
sure, of
everybody
course.
loves that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
they do a lot for kids at
Yeah.
Summerfest. They keep them busy and occupied and
Yeah.
happy.
Cool. Very cool. Stay away from the beer, though, kids. Stay
Yeah,
away from
please.
the beer.
And stay in school.
Yeah, stay in school for sure. So there's more at jsonline.com/Summerfest. Just check it out throughout the run of Summerfest, ahead of Summerfest. We've got all these tips and things to check out, food to check out, beer to check out. It's all there. But Kathy, thanks for chatting with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Piet.
Cool.
Lost innocent world, my lost innocent paradise. Where did you go? I paid too high a price. Lost
So we're back with the panel of guys that have been talking about music, and we've got a couple reader questions that we got in that we're going to kind of address. One reader asked, can you really get in for $19 to the Summerfest ground stages? Because he had never been here before, and yeah, you can. I think we forget that sometimes because Summerfest is in our backyard. But when you think about Lollapalooza and how much that costs, or Coachella, to be able to get, to spend $19 to go for a day and see a variety of stuff is really. It's a really cool thing. I mean, any thoughts about that? About the value of Summerfest?
Well, especially when you have an artist that you've been wanting to see for a while and they're playing on a free stage. $20, you can easily spend 30, 40 at a separate venue for a one-time show. But if you can get there early enough, check out some other stuff, get some good food or whatever. So for me, I really try to go when there's an act that I really like to see, so I feel like I get my money's worth. So
For
I think it's
sure,
good.
for sure. And then another question from Camden was wondering if you could only pick one day to go, what's like the most epic day to go to Summerfest this year? I would have to say, looking through the schedule, because we've kind of pre-assigned what reviews we're doing, June 28th seems like a really busy full day with a wide variety of stuff. That's the day that Sean Cootie's playing. That's the day that Paris Hilton is playing. But then you got also.
Which one will I go to?
Right. You've also got
John will be.
You've also got Field Report, who's a great local band. Zach Brown Band is at the Marcus Amphitheater. That'll be one of the biggest draws of the festival. You've got Andy Grammer, who's a pop artist who's got Honey I'm Good as one of like the songs of summer. He's playing at 8 p.m. But do you guys have any days that you're just really pumped about where there's multiple acts that look good?
I think the Rhymesayers Day, which I don't recall the day because I don't look at numbers, but that day is going to be like full and packed all day. Like it's going to be just spilling out. The last time it was, even it rained and it was still just full, like all day.
I agree. If people haven't had the chance to experience that's great, and that it's an awesome experience in the middle of Summerfest, and there's something for everything across that day. Expose yourself to some music you're unfamiliar with. You're going to be with great company, great music fans, and that's why I just really hope that Summerfest will emulate that with other genres moving forward, because it's been so successful.
For sure. Well, final thoughts, guys? Anything else you want to get across about the big gig this year? Bazan?
No, I think it's a good lineup. Like I said, I'm excited for some of these hip-hop acts that we normally don't get here in Milwaukee, so I'm glad that that's happening, and get to see Stevie Wonder for the first time ever, so I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm good.
Yeah, Jank?
I think it's going to be a good year. Like, the last couple of years have been great. I think this is going to be another great year.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years they really have improved in a lot of ways. I mean, last year's lineup I kind of blew me away in the Marcus Amphitheater. They got some really good acts, and this year with the Stones, with Kendrick Lamar, we didn't even mention Ed Sheeran. That show sold out like the first weekend. I mean, there's some really good acts that are playing that are really popular. Eric?
We also haven't mentioned Weird Al. And I got to be honest, that I caught Weird Al the last time that he was at Summerfest. It was one of those great rainy nights where they had canceled all the 10 o'clock stages, but Weird Al's fans didn't leave. So he finally came out at 11:30 after the rain stopped.
Wow.
And he's so entertaining. The guy,
Cool.
I mean, it's just a great show if you're able to carve out that time
And
catch a couple songs from Weird Al.
And there's Weird Al. John, any final thoughts?
Paris Hilton. Don't let me down, Paris. Don't let me down, Paris.
She won't.
Possible.
She just can't. Guys, thanks so much for chatting.
Right.
Thanks a lot for watching this podcast. And there's so much more coverage at jsonline.com/Summerfest. There's other show pics, details on food, beer, just the works. And during the festival, we're going to have galleries and video interviews and performance videos and tons of reviews. I mean, definitely, we are the premier source for Summerfest coverage. So definitely check back to that. And guys, thanks so much for chatting. All right, see you at the big gig.